halted. How can we now come and see this kiro kitwala omunaku?
Officer declared before tallying.
Tallying was very, very clearly done. We had two methods.
Observers say the build-up to the elections bore a striking resemblance to the chaos of 2020, marked by violence and alleged malpractice. Even the party chairperson has expressed dissatisfaction with how the primaries were conducted.
Minister lost, or a big shot, or a big person in NRM or in this country, if you lost, my dear, be aware they wanted you to lose.
The leaders have overstayed.
So what does this mean for the party secretariat and the Electoral Commission that oversaw the process, now marred by disputes in various areas?
Terming it, yes, we are trying our best. But you know, we cannot manage every individual in every village and in every space in that village.
Can the NRM ever fully address the persistent challenges within its internal democracy, and will the wave of new flag bearers give the party an advantage in the upcoming general elections? This is the Frontline.
NBS Frontline.
Well, thank you for making a date with the Frontline. My name is Simon Kagwanjala, still talking NRM politics. The party continues to receive quite a fair share of bad spotlight as their party primaries continue. Today has been a little calm as they went for elections of flag bearers for local government, but the hangover of last week is still on. The violence, the irregularities, the bloodshed, and the murders. What's all beneath it? The president has come out to say, well, it's time to crack the whip on all the errant officers and the beneficiaries of this violence. But will he walk the talk is one of the questions that we'll be digesting tonight. Besides, we'll also be looking at how the party looks in the face of all this quagmire. Joining me tonight is Honorable Semuju Ibrahim Nganda, Secretary General of the PFF, and the man who's been at the center of the storm, Honorable Theodore Sechikubo, Member of Parliament, Remiaga County, is also joining us tonight. Happy to have you. Honorable Dombo, the Director of Communications at the NRM Secretariat, is also a guest tonight, together with the man of the dictionary, Honorable Fred Mukasambide, Deputy President of the Democratic Party. Good to have all of you, and a very good evening. We'll also be speaking to Dr. Tanga Odoi, the chairperson of the NRM's Electoral Commission, who will be speaking to us from Jinja. Well, I'll begin with you, Honorable Sechikubo. How are you contending with the loss?
Well, thank you, and good evening, viewers. The loss, the way I take it, is still temporal, in a sense that the party has opened up an avenue for the aggrieved to be able to petition the NRM Electoral Commission, and if that petition is processed, then we are still confident that that victory grabbed from us, grabbed from me, snatched from me, will be restored. And number two, I'm buttressed in this by the communication of the chairman of the party, President Museveni, who has given all the assurances and the communication he made, the letter he wrote, is on all fours with what transpired in Remiaga. So I don't see how that election can be upheld. I'm pretty confident that indeed, when all is said and done, justice will be restored. Our victory that was snatched from us will be handed back to me as the winner.
When you look at the machinations that were applied or that could have led to your loss, do you imagine whoever snatched your victory left any traces that can help you to recover it?
Yes, because really the processes had been set out, foolproof, in a sense that we had an electoral process that was well planned. You had the voters register, you had the declaration of results forms, you had other paraphernalia that are used at the polling station. These were delivered, and the mode of voting was clear because voting was by way of lining up behind a candidate, behind a portrait, behind your candidature, or I mean the candidate that was being voted. So all that was laid down well, but the details now is where the problem was, where people went out of their way to round up sub-county registrars, to again write new DRA forms that are not consistent with the packing and what had been supplied and delivered at the polling station. So it is easy for you to identify an alien material from that particular polling station. But in this particular case, Mr. Njala Kagwa, we were confronted with a very horrendous violence that was unprecedented in Remiaga. You remember we held our elections on 17th this month. But earlier on 26th, at a political rally, there was no groups fighting, but we were invaded and attacked by the army. And one Semus Fred was shot dead. And myself, I survived with a bullet wound. And some other young man called Moses Twengana also suffered a gunshot wound on his head. So when now you bring in the aspect of the military, it can be understandable when people fight, supporters fight, that can happen. But now when you bring in the third element of the military, the army, because we were at Chirega, we were having a peaceful rally, we were seeing people off, then they came driving in a military lorry, H4DF 3329. And without asking anything, they started shooting at us. And this young man stood in front of me, telling me, they are going to kill you. They want to kill you. They've come for you. And as I was pushing him away, I didn't realize the bullet had picked my finger. And that is the bullet that struck him through his chest, and he died. And the army, the soldiers were commanded by a Lieutenant Ziwa. Even on the 17th, the same Ziwa was in Remiaga. He shot at us, shattering glasses of my vehicle. So the level of impunity, I don't know. When you see all this, the way we all know the strictness with which the president handles the military, the strictness with which the president handles the misuse of a gun to kill innocent civilians. This is different, because the killer, the one who pulled the trigger, is still present in Remiaga and active even today Today they were...
Well, I could hold you there. Honorable Mbide, when you listen to Honorable Theodore Sechkuo's narrative and then correlate it with the president's two missives, in barely a week the president has written twice about the irregularities that defined the NRM party primaries. What kind of picture do you get?
First of all, at the risk of finding Honorable Sechkuo by the wayside of the sub judice rule, because he already has a petition before a tribunal relating to matters that require, of course, dispensing with both evidential and legal burden. Now, discussing it here, obviously, your merits before, of course, replies are given to your own petition might equally be injured. But I can safely say, I have looked at the president. We can give this a general picture, because at the conclusion of the NRM primaries, almost 60% of the true general elections have been considered. And these are things that people don't even want to tell the public. But in Uganda, we are being run by an autocratic single-party procedure. Because autocracy is generally in terms of three major limbs. It is either bossism, which is based on one single party that leads the whole country, or it can be a military junta, or a military strongman. Now, we don't have that military strongman, and it is not characterized as a junta per se. So this one is bossistic in nature. It is one major party that in terms of silencing all the others, it is the protagonist of politics in Uganda. So the president is, the NRM is choreographing its own next parliament, next majority. Honorable Sechkubo could be suffering. I do not know, I have not given myself an assessment as to whether his problems are actually party-sponsored. But I find him suffering from something called the eminence gris. You know, these are persons that wield a lot of influence and power, but without formal appointment. He could be a victim of such people, because I saw a lot of the campaigns that took place.
Who are they?
The eminence gris.
Okay.
These are people that I found decampaigning him, wielding a lot of authority and power, but without formal appointment. If you look at their positions of authority in Uganda, at least within the hierarchies, you don't find them. But they are extremely powerful, can even cause, of course, the reshuffles of RDCs, they can cause the reshuffle of DPCs, they can, and these are persons that actually were against him. What the president is trying to do is to begin to wake up and beginning to answer. I find the legal advice that he was given appropriate. It was correct. That first of all, an independent establishment like a tribunal be established to adjudicate on matters, because in an election conducted by the chairperson of EC, it is presumed under the law that he conducted an election and even declared, either directly or indirectly.
Okay.
So he would not be the one.
Imagine that the president, in a way, is giving his judgment as this election was a complete mess.
He's fed on with a lot of intelligence, concludes that it was a mess. Any of the affidavits, of course, designed for that purpose should include even statements, annexures of a statement by the president. In Uganda, at least we are led by a proper legal principle of nemo judex in causa sua, that you cannot be a judge in your own cause. I do not expect Professor Tango Doi to participate in adjudicating matters relating to election irregularities in an election he has conducted. I have seen him giving a few speeches, and I think that is not appropriate. Yet I can give him credit that he has attempted to hold an election throughout the country. It is not really easy. We have seen how many times LOC elections have been postponed. Now, if his has been conducted, in my opinion,
Shabby as it looks.
Yes. It is oblique, completely convoluted. But I can tell you that at least every area has had the declaration of a winner. So if he is only going to consider petitions now, we in fact have to be told how many petitions there are. I give him credit. We need to do that, by the way, because I do not find a political party that has done this succinctly to that level. But also,
but when you read deeply between the lines on the president missives, could he have vaguely communicated something about the weaknesses of the Secretariat, the failure of the Secretariat to rein in?
No, the president is being, I do not want to use a lot of words, but there is what we call chichi and ladida. He is being pretentious. I am not sure that he is serious over what he is saying in this regard. But he is covering against sentiments of persons like Honorable Sechikubo, so that they can now rest assured and wait for a result. Because you see, the president is a rebel. He has led the country, but he knows that the safest means by which you can have safety is by providing a safe passage to any problem. Now, the safest passage he can provide for such animosity that has arisen amongst the rank and file of his NRM leaders, including ministers that have gone to Taiwan, is to be part of them. Because you see, the president will always want to be, if you find him addressing rallies, you might think he's a member of the opposition. He will go and ask people, how can such roads exist in a country that I govern? Now, you find that he himself, he sounds like he's a member of the opposition. And that is his character. It has been his character almost ever since he came to power. When he came to power, he argued that how can, you see, the problems of our country is that, you see, people have chosen to take power by the gun. Then people have chosen to stay forever. People have done this and that. He keeps arguing. In fact, his arguments, the templates can even be used by the opposition. But he's the one governing. There is no way I am going to lead a country full of corruption. That is not me. Now, you find that even the opposition can identify with his speeches. They can read them, and they get elected. That is what I hope. That is not what he is doing.
So he's simply offering comic relief too?
It is, because clearly what has been done, a tribunal has been constituted. All we have been instructed we shall all appear before it. But it doesn't look like it is going to be so deadly against those that have been found by the wrong side of the coin.
Thank you. Yes. Honorable Dumbo, another bad election presided over by the Secretariat. How much shame are you carrying on your head?
Which bad election?
Look at what the president highlights: the murders, the bloodshed, the irregularities, missing names. You came here and assured the country in the run-up to the primaries that all was well, you had a very good register, and this time you've plugged all loopholes.
President Trump survived the bullet during the campaigns. NRM is not presiding over there. This is criminal conduct of individuals, and it can happen anywhere in the world. The question is, do you have enough will and enough people or determined people to counter it? When it happened in the US, somebody died, almost similar to Sechikubo's. President Brown survived with a bullet wound on the ear and the head. It's not different from what has happened here in a number of places. And the question is, when it occurs, as a party, what do you do?
Okay, for starters, you yourself has been a victim. You've been a victim of these machinations. You lost an election because of the primaries that were as bloody as this. Do you imagine it's only getting worse?
Our elections, although there have been a number of deaths during these campaigns and elections, the situation seems to have improved to better elections than the previous ones. I want to tell you that. Because last time, we did not have a party register and everybody voted. In such a situation, it was difficult to tell whether the people who voted and participated in the NRM elections, whether all of them were members of the NRM. Because everybody who came to a polling center and was mobilized by members who wanted to win participated in the elections. Okay. This time we had a voters register, and the
without names,
and the president alludes or refers to it with compliment. Even today, the same party register has been used, and to everybody's surprise, very successfully. I've moved to a number of polling stations in Uganda. Others have been put on social media and the media houses, where they used the register, they were reading the names, and people went in the seclusive place and they voted. So, because of that, we had a successful election, and the NRM Secretariat did a commendable job. The death that occurred in Kamuli, the death occurred at night in somebody's home. These were criminals who attacked a sitting member of parliament's home, which was being guarded by a policeman.
Let me hear this from you. Are you walking with your head high after this election?
Absolutely, yes. We have conducted and we have flag bearers. The challenges that we witnessed notwithstanding, I want to tell you that this election was very successful. The members of the media are arguing as if in every constituency people have died. People are arguing as if in every constituency people didn't use the register. They are arguing as if in every constituency people gave waragi. This is what dominated the press and what has been on social media.
To a scale of 100, how did NRM perform?
In these elections, it was above average.
What is average?
Average is 60. And for us, if you may get anything like 65 and above, this was extremely good performance. Our desire, when we were planning, we wanted to perform at around 90%. When we did the register and we pretested it during the structure elections and the election of the LC1 flag bearers, we knew that we would operate around 80 or 90%. We didn't know that there would be late delivery of materials. That did affect us, because initially there had been a rumor that perhaps the elections would be postponed. It was put on the social media. People started putting it in the media and in the press, and it created a problem in the population. And when we started transporting materials, because of the same fears, it was a decision taken by the top management at the party that if we move our declaration forms in advance and people get access to them, there are modern printers everywhere. Somebody will pick the declaration forms and go to NASA Road or to any printing press, and they will be duplicated. So a decision was taken that the declaration forms go late and they are distributed last. Unfortunately, because of the bad election officials in some places, when they received the materials, some did not treat them the way they should have done. That was a problem. But because of us desiring to have justice, the national chairman directed and named the tribunal, which is going to sit and do its work. I would have discussed some of the issues and the decisions so far, but I don't want to prejudice the decisions, and because some of these cases are before the tribunal, but I want to tell you that this election was far much better election than the previous elections. Even today, we even had a more successful election apart from the low voter turnout.
Thank you. Honorable 𝐉𝐄𝐓𝐔𝐆𝐄𝐀, there have been quite a number of sentiments around the NRM party primaries. And do you imagine that the president further complicates the situation with these two missives? Do you see any contradictions, or he blends with the sentiment on the ground?
First of all, I am happy to see the Honorable 𝐉𝐄𝐓𝐔𝐆𝐄𝐀 alive. At least the Almighty has saved his life. The missive of the President and the elaborate explanation by Honorable Dombo. You go back to Kawempe. In Kawempe, in one of the meetings, and I suppose Dombo attended, second meeting, Kawempe was not one of the items on their agenda, but they spent more than 4 hours. In that meeting, Museveni had deployed soldiers, SFC, throughout Kawempe. And he started calling one by one. Lieutenant Semuju, where are you? Where? What happened? Lieutenant Sechikubo, where are you? Where? And Dombo, you were in that meeting. I know you were. You cannot come here and say you were not. So, Museveni is the one who deploys military in the elections. For Sechikubo, I sympathize with him, not because he's my brother. He had Katirima. Finehas is I don't know whether he's a major general now. Yes, he's retired. They assigned Washande specifically to go and deal with Sechikubo. Museveni's son, who is the CDF, he kept warning Sechikubo, calling him Gayena. Gayena is a hellfire. So this Sechikubo here, according to Moses Kainerugaba, is Gayena. Even as these incidents in Zimbabwe were happening, Moses was on Twitter celebrating, saying now Sechikubo will be the one to carry his bag. I don't understand why Sechikubo doesn't think that he was meant to be treated the way he was treated. But like many NRM people who are in NRM, maybe tactfully.
You want to say their losses were predetermined?
The one of Sechikubo was. In fact, if he didn't lose, it would have been a miracle. That they have deployed Katerima, deployed Washande, who can't even walk. And each one of them has a military. And then Sechikubo is speaking about military trucks. For you are supposed to have lost that election. That's why I'm happy that they didn't kill you. Because once they have assigned military generals to deal with you. Because I don't know what Washande will bring to Parliament. Here, when you look at him, can he bring anything apart from his body? But no, these are the people.
If he's voted by the people, if he's the people's
choice. It does
choice.
not matter. I've been in that parliament. We are 500 people and you can't get a quorum of 120. Even when they vote them, they become serious. And Museveni knows that Washande, apart from his uniform, maybe that's what he brings in the parliament. Sechikubo, who has a value, must get out. First, he has committed many crimes. How can you speak about Museveni's son? So this Sechikubo, the crimes you have committed, now you are paying. But let me not lose the point. The point is, it is not possible that the military was deployed in Zimbabwe and in other areas without the knowledge of Museveni. I've told you Kawempe was pretending, but when they were in a meeting, he was the one calling. He had a list. Mpere called me Major Semuju. Tell me what was in Mpere. They spent 4 hours, Museveni calling soldiers, not NRM leaders. So, but for the case of Sechikubo, this was like a Congo. It was a battle line. They had an enemy to deal with, and they have done so. But like NRM people, Sechikubo still thanks Museveni. He says Museveni has returned. Now he thinks, I sympathize with you. And with your knowledge, I know that you know that actually you okay, so let me go to other things.
Giving a media clip. I was with one of the professors in a Kenyan professor who is a friend of mine, and he made a statement which really amused me when he watched Sechikubo speaking. He said, this guy has lost primaries. I knew. You know, it is dangerous to be right in a society where very eminent persons are all wrong. So
yes, Sechikubo, you had to pay a price. Even the deployment itself, that they have deployed Washande against you, is backed by Katirima, both of them military generals, Toyota, Museveni. So yeah, for you were a target, and for surviving, because, I mean, you could have lost your life in that election.
Okay, so I guess you've taken time to analyze and scan through the president's letter. What do you read in the tone of his letter?
But I have attended a press conference with Museveni, with the visiting president, and he switches to Luganda. And the visiting president doesn't know now which language the press conference has taken. Then when he has gone, so that's the Museveni you are dealing with. And I agree with Honorable Mbide. The intention of these letters is not to correct the wrongs that happened in NRM elections. Because Museveni is going to be a candidate himself. He wants 𝐶𝐶𝐄𝐓. They have cheated because 𝐶𝐶𝐄𝐓 has people behind him. The ones of Rwashande are his. So he now must deal with the 𝐶𝐶𝐄𝐓's supporters. How do I deal with them? By pretending that I am resolving the problems in Zimbabwe and everywhere they have happened. You will see the same Museveni when both NRM candidates, the one who has won and lost, okay, the one who has been declared and one not declared, he has attended rallies where both of them were, including in 𝐶𝐶𝐄𝐓's constituency. I remember one time when Kutesa, I published those photos in the Observer, when Kutesa was forcing him to announce a candidate of his choice.
What was trying to...
And Museveni deliberately didn't announce him. So you will see him now, because Museveni is a very selfish being. At every rally, he will come back. If there are 3, he will bring all of them. He will say, all these are my children. And then he will say, you can go and suffer, as long as the supporters behind you continue rallying behind him. So Museveni is campaigning. He's not resolving NRM problems, but he's campaigning. And one way of campaigning is to give hope to everybody, like he has given to 𝐶𝐶𝐄𝐓. And I know 𝐶𝐶𝐄𝐓 does not believe that there is hope in it, but he also must speak nice, because those who took his votes can come for his life. So now he must speak very well that the president is resolving what? Every constituency, every election Museveni has visited, every rally, he comes with a winner. He comes, but also, again, when we are at the Observer, Museveni goes to Toro. Those night meetings. So he calls Aronda, who was the military CDF. Okwi, Ravone, Mayombo's brother had lost NRM primary. And Museveni instructed the Arondas to go and help Okwi Ravone, who had lost the NRM primary, to defeat the NRM candidate. And we wrote it in Observer. One time, people from Teso were complaining. There is a woman who was in FDC. The facilitation and the money that was going to Teso was being taken to that woman. She was former Minister of State. And he was telling NRM people to go to FDC to pick money for campaign. So that's the Museveni that you deal with. There will even be a third missive. If you think 2 are too many, there will be a third one. Because at this time, Museveni wants every person, at least who...
Are the missives explicit enough to explain the problem, or they are vague?
First, he wanted to celebrate, because he thinks by NRM holding party primary, it is a victory against the opposition. Partly, yes. Because I told the colleagues here who are in opposition, with all their problems, you go to areas like Karamoja, 26 MPs. In the last election, there was no opposition. They have cheated all the special interest groups elections, cheated all of them. But Museveni is celebrating. He wants to validate that. So his missives, so they are meant to serve that purpose.
Yeah, but he's now creating a tribunal that seems to be operating parallel to the secretariat. He comes out to say Tanga cannot solve a problem that he created.
In the last election, when sitting MPs lost the elections, he invited all of them to State House in Entebbe. He sat them down and after talking to them, he said, those who want jobs, put your hands up. They did. The ones who didn't want jobs, he said, for you, if you go and contest, you will see what will happen to you. So that will follow. These such couples are going into another meeting. But he must take them through a process. The process to make Museveni appear like he was attempting to resolve a problem. So this is the therapy to those who have been cheated. And because you have about 1 month for the local government nominations to begin of the Electoral Commission, I am not sure they are going to have time to go and organize these elections, repeat them. But people who are crying, what do you do to them?
Soothe them.
Exactly.
We'll take a break, and meanwhile, we already have a list, a provisional list of the winners in the LC5 NRM flag bearers from the primaries that we'll be relaying shortly after the break. And we'll also be asking, why has violence and other irregularities remained endemic in the NRM party primaries? Good evening.
NBS Frontline. Are you ready to experience the ultimate in live events?
Can you switch? Can you switch?
From local to global, we bring you the most exciting events 24/7. Stay informed with live breaking news. Keep in the know of what's happening around you and beyond. NBS Live and filtered and missable. Exclusively on Afro Mobile.
All right, listen up. Colgate is on a mission.
It's kind of a big thing.
Colgate Herbal uses traditional nature's herbs and combines it with Colgate Science for healthy gums and strong teeth.
New Colgate Herbal with Salt combines traditional nature's herbs with a pinch of salt and Colgate Science. A natural recipe for strong teeth and healthy gums.
Imagine waking up to a dream where luxury meets tranquility. Welcome to Solana Lifestyle and Residences, a sanctuary of elegance where every detail is curated for your comfort. From impeccable security to serene garden pathways, Solana offers more than a home. It's a lifestyle. Now, your dream is within reach. Experience life at its finest. Buy your home today starting from just $142,000 US. Solana Lifestyle and Residences, now ready for occupancy. Live, work, play, and shop the Solana way.
Eliminate flying and crawling insects with ease using Kill It insecticide. Your People's Choice Award winner for 2024, trusted since 1988. Kill It guarantees rapid action against mosquitoes, flies, and cockroaches, including those that spread malaria. Kill It is a reliable and effective solution for homes, schools, hospitals, and all public spaces. Experience the perfect blend of power and refreshing fragrance. Kill It delivers unmatched effectiveness at unbeatable value. Choose Kill It today, trusted by families, proven by results. Available at your favorite stores. Kill It is distributed by Translink Uganda Limited.
Transform your future with Cavendish University Uganda. At Cavendish University Uganda, we are committed to providing you with the best education, state-of-the-art facilities, and experienced lecturers at all our faculties. Are you an IT specialist? Are you interested in artificial intelligence? Cavendish University is excited to introduce the Bachelor of Science in data science and artificial intelligence, where you will learn to harness the power of big data to drive innovation and decision making. Are you a health specialist seeking to lead in the healthcare sector? We have the Advanced Diploma in Health Leadership and Management, equipping you with the skills to manage healthcare organizations effectively. Join us today and start your journey towards a brighter future. For more information, contact Your Transformative Education awaits. Success begins at Cavendish University.
We all need light in this life, and at Lighting City, we make sure we light up your world in the way that you deserve, with the widest range of classy and unique selection from all over the world, with our customized products like Lighting City chandeliers, wall lights, Lighting City outdoor lights, spotlights and strip lights, bedside lamps, floor lights and garden lights. We also deal in electrical items like switches, electrical cables, and so much more. Find us in Kampala, 5th Street, Industrial Area, Chinese Business Hotel, opposite Mosque. Lighting City, the 21st century electrical and lighting store.
This is nature. This is timeless. This is more than a destination, but a reinvention that will open your mind. The promise of spaces as extensive as your imagination. Filled with surprises, each moment transforms as often as you do, and a room to breathe. This is not a business as usual, but a new way to inspire, connect, and yes, build ideas. We are on a journey to make your gateway unforgettable. The perfect blend of leisure and adventures. Because it is not all about your destination to Kalangala Island, but where you stay matters. We are Brevard Sands Lodge.
In a digital world, not everything is what it seems. False stories today spread faster than truth, leaving us all wondering what's real. Disinformation misleads, misinformation misguides, and spreads confusion and fear. Dismiss, a campaign to help you think critically, question wisely, and verify thoroughly. Join us. Let's build a more informed Uganda, one truth at a time. Dismiss, inquire, verify, confirm. Together, let's fight fake news.
Welcome to Finns Medical University, the only specialized health sciences university in East Africa. Fully licensed, NCHE accredited, and approved for a charter, Finns is your trusted path to a brighter medical future. Now accepting applications for degree programs in Bachelor of Medicine and Surgery, Pharmacy, Lab Technology, Weekend Nursing and Midwifery, Medical Education, Tutorship, Diplomas in Nursing, Midwifery, Clinical Medicine, Pharmacy, Lab Technology, and Certificates in Nursing, Midwifery, Pharmacy, and a bridge course. With state-of-the-art labs, a conducive learning environment, and real clinical practice, your journey to excellence starts here. Finns Medical University, saving lives, our passion.
NBS Frontline.
Welcome back as we continue digging deep into the NRM party primaries that are defined by chaos, bloodshed, a disputed register, bloated numbers of voters, and quite a number of anomalies that have prompted the president now to institute a probe or a tribunal? Well, as we took a break, I told you already the provisional list of the winners for LC5 chairpersons is already out, and we await the Electoral Commission, the NRM Electoral Commission, to come out and declare the winners. But along the way, I'll of course highlight some of the most prominent districts. Honorable Sechikubo, do you look at the president as trying to walk a very tight rope on certain incidents that spoiled the whole election? Because some of the incidents were quite glaring that they wouldn't require a tribunal.
I think I agree with what has been presented by the panelists here. The president finds himself between a rock and a hard place. He has set into motion this electoral process. And indeed, that's why I was disturbed and perturbed when Honorable Dombo, director, was saying that now, to measure our success, we have a register. As if the register is, by itself is a sine qua non of a good election. No, it's not necessarily that. Probably he's talking about the theories. But where at the polling station, you cannot have a register read out to the potential voters. You cannot have individuals rhyming with the names on the register. Where there are sticks, Encon squad, guns at the polling stations.
Social media crew pick up full of Encon, full of sticks. And someone said the voting material for Zimbabwe are being delivered.
Yes. So the director is right when he says we've delivered the register to the people.
They delivered the
but the bloated register, where you find a village of barely 3 households, like that of General Katirima, there are mainly 2 homes.
Square miles, you know, in Zimbabwe.
No, mainly 2 homes. One man, Mukalazi, and his. And there is a village called Bahima. But the vote outcome, when they are tallying, is 400. So for director here to say that now we deliver the register, everything is okay.
What makes it delicate for the president?
No, for the president, I was
unequivocal about this.
I was coming to that. When you see the army being deployed, when the president is teaching the generals to tinker with elections, when they are out of the barracks, because there are those in active service and those who are supposed to have retired. But as of course you know, even if they retire, they remain part of the UPDF. So once the president is teaching these generals and the soldiers now, he's exposing them to the campaigning and the politics we are involved with. And he does not rein in on them. Who knows tomorrow? Probably they would move away from the constituencies to the national level. Mr. Kagwanjala, my major concern about this is that they start small, they get bold, they get bolder, and who knows where they will end.
You seem to absolve the secretariat and put all the burden onto the president.
That's not my intention, because there are categories. There are people who cause violence. There are people who mismanage the election. That is one aspect. But the generals are part of the, under the command of the Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces, Kagwa. Once you talk about generals and their participation in an election, it can't be swept under the carpet. That is very significant. And if at all they came in, of course I understand and I appreciate, once you retire, you are free to join the civilian life. But they join the civilian campaigns with their militaries, with their escorts, with lorries accompanying them, of soldiers accompanying them, and in the process, they go overboard, shooting people. A person is killed, and Major General Sunday of the Armored Division came to say that, you know, we have the killer. He's with us. But he remains active. So that, and the way you know the president, to me, when he writes, I think the president's directive should be issued immediately. The only concern I have is that those he's writing to have become too big for him. Those he's trying to guide are probably thinking they're on top of the world. So the president's message is welcome, okay. But
do you have a sense of relief now that the principal has spoken?
Of course, this is why I'm taking it from there. That's why I'm picking it from there.
Cautiously or generally?
No. I come with open hands. I come to test what the president has stated, not only in words, but has put pen to paper. And we see what comes out of that. Because it would be a mistake on my part not to follow the avenue still open. But now once we do that, then we shall come back to see what is the outcome for one or two decisions to see what we can do next. And to me, where you have people bigger than the system, this director for communication will communicate, but he's communicating, taking the best. He's not looking at the situation practically as it is.
Oh, his hands are tied.
No. He is one of the finest. He's one of the finest. I remember when I joined the parliament, he was even a commissioner in parliament. But the circumstances that led his ouster from the constituency, he has not told us. The same circumstances are still pertaining now. The very leave alone the other system where he was thrown out. And as a way of saying, no, you can't leave Dombo outside. You need him. At least let him communicate. And that's why he's there. But we missed out on the best of him in parliament. And I'm surprised he's not pointing out that what bedeviled the internal party elections then are still carried. Only that this time around, they are getting bold and bolder. And I'm telling you, we would have taken lessons from the parliamentary primaries of 17th July. But even now, 24th, as I'm speaking from Sembabli, the army has taken over that election. The army, we had the Remiaga constituency, we had the Maugula South, Maugula West, etc. But the candidates there are crying foul because the army took over the election on the 17th. We did not take stock of what happened, and director would challenge you. If we had taken stock of what had happened, what had transpired, so that you find a solution to that, but we went full throttle into this of today, the 24th.
Thank you. Honorable Dombo, violence and other irregularities other shenanigans have become permanent features in NRM elections. Can we take it that NRM is synonymous with messy primaries?
Dombo comes, they have set up Tina Banja, Prime Minister. I have seen clips when they are roughing up Ndunguse, who was Deputy IGP to Kaihura. I have seen Major General Kayanja crying, saying, Duroni, they brought Duroni. So this election is interesting.
Simon, one of to add on to that. Going to the details, causing communication blackout, like in Remiag. The internet and the telephone masts were all cut and vandalized. So with over 30 drones and double cabin pickups with covered number plates.
Now, Simon, supposing what my brother Sechko is saying was right.
It is. The photos in the newspapers.
What would have the NRM Secretariat done about that?
Yeah.
So, in this election, he has told you here that they received the register. They used it in the structure elections. But this time, they couldn't read it because of the circumstances that were prevailing. I strongly believe that this forms part of the evidence that my brother has submitted. The issues of Zimbabwe are a bit complicated. And I've
but this is not peculiar to Zimbabwe.
No.
It's everywhere. You had the complaints of Honorable Namuganza.
I wanted to begin with Zimbabwe because the person I'm talking about is from Zimbabwe. The last time I talked to Honorable 𝐶𝐄𝐍𝐃𝐀 in the previous elections, you have seen how the alliances have kept shifting. Just recently, we hosted the Zimbabwe team at the Secretariat. And one of the former ministers came up to make very strong allegations in that meeting, even bringing in the name of the president until Dr. Tanga prevailed over her to say, no, you can't say this without providing evidence. I have heard that there is a petition that has been submitted, and now the person who is accusing 𝐶𝐄𝐍𝐃𝐀 is a co-petitioner with the 𝐶𝐄𝐍𝐃𝐀. I don't know whether that is true, but that is going to be investigated. Now, I cannot get into the details of this without injuring the merits of the petition. There is something I want to correct. There are people who have read the president's letter and imagine that they were riots before the president set up the tribunal. The tribunal that the president has set up is a provision within the NRM constitution. And the president set up this tribunal before the elections were conducted. We hadn't communicated formally.
Yeah, but look, all petitions were going to Honorable Fred Jachano March.
That was wrong. That was wrong because the tribunal had been set up, but I think Dr. Tanga had communicated to all members, to all aspirants, and he had given them 5 days. The tribunal was set up before the 17th. The Central Executive Committee sat at the NRM Secretariat, and they debated the issues of setting up the tribunal. So that tribunal was set up before the elections were conducted. The president just communicated to re-emphasize that ordinarily there is no way people should be complaining to Dr. Tanga Odoi if Dr. Tanga Odoi has presided over the elections.
So why did Tanga's office now entertain petitions?
Dr. Tanga's office was receiving petitions. Even right now, the tribunal sits at Dr. Tanga's office, but Dr. Tang is not responsible for the tribunal. It is an independent tribunal set up by the chairman and the leadership of NRM in order to adjudicate on matters of the commission. So that one, people should know. Then secondly, already the decisions that the president made, they were both issues to be considered by the tribunal, but there are issues which are supposed to be considered by the police. There are people who have been arrested already. Actually, for these elections to be conducted today, Dr. Tanga Odoi had to seek a meeting with the leadership of the police to ask them to de-escalate. Because there are areas, there are districts where we shouldn't have conducted elections today if the old registrars had been arrested because of what they did in the previous elections. He requested them to reduce on the process of rounding up members until we conducted today's elections. There are districts where they took materials and the registrars were peeping, wondering whether the police was going to pick them today. So, the president's directive...
So you're all panicking now?
The president's directive is taking action. There are people who have been arrested. There are people who are behind the cells. There are those who had been given bond, police bond, in order to enable them process the elections today. But now that the elections are over, the police is going to continue with the authorization and directives that the president has given.
Thank you. Honorable 𝐶𝐄𝐍𝐃𝐀. Do you imagine that now the president's decision is beginning to bite.
Biting what?
There already are some arrests.
Those who have been arrested.
I mean, when in the recent picking of whichever form for NRM, they brought criminals on Kampala streets that went robbing people. Have you seen them being tried? They appeared and they took them to Luzira when they begin releasing them. In the previous elections in Chiboga, there was a conflict between the Honorable Ruth Nankabirwa and Siraji Nkugwa, who was the district chairman. Both of them had meetings in Chiboga, and they chose to move out of their locations at the same time. Nankabirwa and his guards were accused of killing 2 people, including an LC2 chairman. So when the shouting on NBS and other media ended, those 2 murders were never resolved. There was no interest. Nyanzi here, who I'm told now has returned as NRM candidate, he picked a gun from his bodyguard and shot and killed the person.
So is this window dressing?
They arrested Nyanzi and they discontinued the murder charges. The same applied to a Songa from Mbale. You see these things, if you have lived here and you know Museveni, you will not go to sleep thinking that he's resolving anything. I have said his only interest in writing these letters is to calm the situation, but is also to lure the supporters of Sechku and other victims to his side, such that he goes, because this is about himself, not about anyone else. So the supporters who are crying that their candidates were cheated, he must communicate to them that I am not the problem, it is Tango Doi. That's why, I mean, in an election of this nature, you mean Tango Doi was the one deploying military? Tango Doi was the one deploying police. So Tango Doi was the one roughing up people. Museveni, at every stage, he has sacrificed people. People who have worked with him, they all have left crying. Others think maybe he will change. He can't change. This is about him. So all these letters of his, the intention is not to resolve anything, because in the past he has resolved nothing. I have told you, his ministers have shot and killed the people.
Yeah, but there have been instances where elections have been cancelled, rather results have been cancelled, and the aggrieved have been declared.
Yes, he can find 1 or 2 just as a ceremony to make him look like he's serious about what he's saying. But this matter, I can assure you, Museveni is already preparing his nomination, which will be, I think, in Nambole, where he will refer everybody. Kololo is being cleaned because he wants people who have come for NRM national conferences, women, veterans. He wants all of them in Kololo to build a very big crowd. That's why you have seen the Electoral Commission of Yabakama adjusting nominations for the president to coincide with Museveni's ceremonies, because he doesn't have money to bring them in Nambole, take them back, and then they return. So the Electoral Commission has had to bring the dates closer, because that's the program that the Dombos have done. So all these things, you see, the work has been done. They are just playing out in the public. Museveni is going to resolve no dispute, but he will make sure that he speaks directly to the victims, he speaks directly to their supporters, because he needs all of them. So these letters are just to serve that purpose.
Honorable Mbide.
You mean Museveni didn't know? Because the problems of Zimbabwe did not start with the polling day. They had started much earlier. The person who was killed was not killed on polling day.
Yes.
You mean all these things Museveni was not seeing, that now he wants to resolve issues that happen on the polling day?
They lied to him. They lied to him. And who had led a group of people to attack the army.
So what was the army doing in Zimbabwe?
Honorable Mbide,
yes.
Has the country gotten to the extent of concluding that all NRM processes are always mired in violence?
There is only one major principle.
And why?
And of course, why? The answer is one. When you look at the NRM politics, the problem is not the problem, but the attitude of the leaders to the problem is the problem. Now, let me address now all of the aggrieved in NRM primaries. And I am stating this succinctly. In every political equation, there is always somebody who is just being used. Now, for you, the aggrieved, if you look around and you don't see that person, then it is you.
Being used.
Being used. All the aggrieved, and I repeat, in every NRM political equation, there is always somebody who is just being used. Now, if you have looked around and you don't see that person, then it is you who is being used. So, as you go ahead vending the extremes of this content, put that one in mind, that probably you are actually, pursuing grasshoppers in broad daylight. It is very unlikely that you can catch any, although they are extremely visible. And usually that is what happens. Number two, and this is for my brother, Honorable Sechikuo, they are usually indicators that it is about to rain. You don't need to be a scientist to discover that it is. And in such regard, it is extremely important for you to take very precautionary measures. Your roots are strong. And where your roots are strong, you don't need to get worried of the wind as a tree. Just move on. Because there's what we call the Pyrrhic victory. The kind of victory where at the end point of the victorious announcement, the casualties around and along the way cannot actually justify even the win that you have obtained. You have looked at champions. A champion who has been battered almost to near death, even if you are being given a belt and you cannot raise it in the air, that kind of a win is actually very, very dangerous itself. Honorable Sechikuo, you don't need to look for that kind of win. Just go to the constituency, pick your people, get to parliament. Like Honorable Semujju stated, I envisage a situation where on a presidential rally, President Museveni will equally recognize you and you'll get to the ballot box and win. The time is now for you to recognize that one of the symbols that you have enjoyed.
Do you want him to go independent?
Of course. You can even join the DP. In any case, it is allegedly not in very bad books with NRM. So I will be happy to deliver your own ticket at your own village. In fact, wherever you please, even if you get to the tip of the tallest tree in your constituency, I'll bring it. Because clearly you are the kind of people that you need.
Yes. On the DP ticket.
Yes.
But
if it is indeed true.
Washande said is no.
No, if it is indeed true that we are in good books with NRM, please take up our ticket. It is the equivalent. So I will deliver it and they should leave you to also campaign and get to parliament. There is a very big problem. I did not find this. Of course, it is not glaring a state decision that a few people should be fought. But
okay,
I cannot guarantee.
You know how tribunals work?
Yes.
How grand is the job for this tribunal? And how far do you think they can go?
No, the tribunal is going to be as competitive as those that declared the winners. It is not true that the tribunal can go against established standards by the eminence Greece. However, we will chase as wild goose. Because there is, I can tell you.
Are you part of it?
No, I am one of the lawyers instructed and I am happy. I will explore. I have looked. If there is anything I have studied, it is the law on political parties. I will do my job. Because I know the NRM rules. All the rules, electoral rules, political party rules, I know the laws in Uganda and I will argue. But I know that decision making sometimes is not commensurate with the amount of evidence provided, the kind of adjudication that exists. a decision can definitely be communicated by those that never attended the hearing. So, but we know, and that is how tribunals can work.
Honorable 𝐶𝐶𝐄 is running as an independent or a DP member. Anything on your cards?
No, for now, I've set my petition. I've submitted it. I'm awaiting the outcome.
There are people who are watching, you need to remind them that this 𝐶𝐶𝐄 had been chased from when
No, but I stayed.
Yeah,
but Njara, what I want to respond.
I remember the speaker couldn't find where to sit.
He sat there.
Yeah, don't go there.
Refugees.
One at a time. Really, one at a time.
It's back to haunt you now.
No. Because I usually follow up to the end. Then I see what happens next.
But you know the system that is fighting you and how entrenched it is. Can you break through it and get an NRM ticket?
No. That's what has always been said. I know I have a good case. Kagwa, like the director here. You see, you declare a winner out of the declaration of results forms. And now for 4 days running, I've been at the Secretariat and at plot 13, the Electoral Commission, saying that now I'm in this process. The President has opened the window for the aggrieved to petition. Can you show? Because I won, but then you switched and you declared another person. Can you share the DRR forms that you used, the number of votes that were scored by the declared winner, so that we can compare and put our case before the tribunal?
Whose office do you go to?
I've been to the Secretariat and I've been to the Chairman, Electoral Commission's office. I said, no, go upstairs. Let's find you there. Let's get you the materials you were waiting for. But I learned that the DRR forms were picked from Zimbabwe on Tuesday. Now it is Thursday. It is not found anywhere at the Electoral Commission. And you can see it did not stop at the voting, but it follows through. The impunity is following through. If you say you declared someone with 16,000 votes, where did you base for you to make that declaration? Because I won, you changed the results, you announced somebody else, and the totals, the percentages, they are still 80%.
Is it Tango Doi who shortchanged you?
What I'm seeing, Tango Doi could be at the chair, could be the chairperson of the committee.
He deployed the registrar.
He deployed the registrars. And whoever is handling the election process does it on his behalf. He delegates. And I think what you raised earlier, and Honorable Mbide, yes, I agree. Honorable Dombo here can agree, and I think has already agreed to that point. Yes, Dr. Tango Doi has done his part. He is now functus official. He cannot be there with the same person to arbitrate or to try to hear the petitions and the grievances. But he's still central in availing all this that is in his possession. The basis, the materials he used to declare a person, he is still at the center of that. And when we went up, he has been making front calls, asking his staff what is happening, where are the materials from Zimbabwe, are they in Zimbabwe, are the DRR forms in Zimbabwe? So I'm waiting.
That doesn't look overwhelmed.
No, what we are doing now, we are now from the chairman or Electoral Commission, we are now addressing our complaint to the chairman of the party. Because when he came out to the media to say that all of you were aggrieved, please, there is this avenue. And it is being frustrated. So the only alternative, the humble alternative we are remained with, is to raise and draw the attention of the chairman of the party.
Do you want to imagine that even the tribunal is going to be stranded in finding evidence
Because
it's a little complicated.
The tribunal has to base itself on the materials presented to it. Because for you to say that you won, and it's now a question of the quantitative figures. Of course, there is the qualitative, the violence. We experienced death, that is qualitative. But now it will come to the quantitative. By how many votes did you lose? How many votes do you impeach from the winner? And that is now quantitative. And we are saying the tribunal can only do best if it is presented with all this. But fortunately, we've been on record. When we started at the district returning officer's desk, we presented our request formally, which was never answered. Now we moved up to the chairman, Electoral Commission, Dr. Tango Doi. We addressed the same to him. For 2 days, now he said, no, I've handed it over to the director legal. And he himself is failing to come up with this.
Honorable Ssemujju, what are you reading in the shenanigans and the inner workings of the NRM in the midst of all this spotlight?
We went to court. Dr. 𝐒𝐔𝐆𝐄𝐀 has been in reserve for 250 days. Justice might have allocated these files to Justice Baguma. Justice Baguma has refused to hear the case. You go to his office, he says the files are in Nakawa. Nakawa said you were committed to High Court for trial. So these things are common in Uganda. So Sechiko will look for the file, next they will tell you they are in Kigali. Maybe you'll have to hire an aircraft to go and pick them. So they are deliberate, because the case of Sechiko will not be resolved by the tribunal. It must be resolved by the Museveni family. If they say now, okay, Sechiko we can allow you, they will allow him. So the
what is so peculiar about Sechiko?
But I have told
compared to Namuganza,
I
Mbayo,
have
and the rest?
told you, Muhoozi has said this one is Guyana. And he said now Guyana is finished, you must come and carry my bags. Haven't you seen those postings? So you want anyone to pretend that they are in the tribunal dealing with Sechiko, where they deployed the 2 generals together with their guards. So the Sechiko issue is not going to be resolved by the tribunal. There are other issues, smaller issues they can resolve, but this one, no. So Sechiko went to the wrong address. That's where his petition went. His petition should go to the right address. He has put it to the wrong address. The smaller ones, I know some are going to be appointed RDCs, others are going to be promised, others, because I don't see the appetite and time to have this matter resolved. That means they are going to announce that we are repeating elections in 20% because Domo said they have performed above average, and he said his average is 60. So even if it is 20% of the areas where there are problems, where they boxed in Nabanja, where they roughed up Ndunguse, where they shot people and killed them. So this area, Kayanja is crying. He says, Duroni, Duroni, Duroni. For us, we have been crying, Duroni is picking people on the streets of Kampala. Now he has also seen them in the elections.
You mean the Geno? You mean Geno Kayanja?
Geno Kayanja.
Eli?
Yes. You've not seen him cry. He says these people are very bad. They brought drone here, 10 of them. So ask yourself, because I think Kayanja had someone against Kinyamatama. Maybe Kayanja doesn't know Kinyamatama. He will discover that there are people who are untouchable. So these cases that are before a tribunal, the tribunal is like a funeral committee. You are dead. So when you are dead, there must be a committee to organize your funeral. So Sechiko.
No, I thought a tribunal resolves disputes.
No, this particular one is a funeral committee. So death has been committed by the very people who are seeking to resolve it. So Sechiko is before a funeral committee to organize him a decent burial. So that's what they are doing. And many of them is going to be the same fate. But
you seem to be having a last laugh about what is happening.
I have told you, go back and see the murder in Chivoga, the murder in Mitiana, the murder in Mbale, whether there was even an attempt to have them resolved. Instead, the people who had murdered were in parliament, they were pardoned, matters were discontinued in courts once commonness returned. So this particular, and you need to read Museveni's letter carefully. He begins by celebrating. These are wonderful,
glorious by-elections.
These are wonderful elections. 9 people turned up. Then he says, to him, that was most important. The by the way in his missive was now the problems. He said, now these problems you can deal with them. But the idea was that, okay, they have never organized an election like this, so massive, 9 million, we have 9. Because Museveni is not looking at this election of NRM. Now the focus has switched to cheating in the next election. And he will tell you after cheating in the next election that in the NRM election itself, 8 people voted. Then you can't accuse him of having people. But in my area, thank God, 9 people at NRM polling station, 10, 20. In fact, in Ichira, I am not even sure that people realized there was an election going on. Because even me who drives past the polling stations, I didn't see any activity there, Dom.
The winner got 4,000.
After adding, where I stay,
total, yes.
There was 90 people, but they made them 900. And that happened in many areas, but at least here I was a witness.
I think we need to fact check this. Let's take a break and return shortly.
NBS Frontline.
Catch me howling at the
Introducing the all-new GWM P300. Bring it on. Go with GWM.
Exclusively distributed by Double Q. Call us on 0700 111 000. Visit our showrooms at Busega and Old Port Bell Road, Bugos.
At UNOC, we believe in safety.
Did you have a loan like housing finance?
Yes!
Housing finance.
Yes.
Yeah, now you can't even speak. In the name of Jesus.
Yes, Lord.
There's a financial anointing.
Thank you, Lord.
That is coming upon you.
Thank you, Lord.
I don't know whether it's you. Did you have a false investment?
Yes.
In that area?
Yes. In real estate.
130 million. Hallelujah!
Watch the power of prophecy with Prophet Elvis Mbonye this Saturday, 6:30 p.m. on NBS TV, Uganda.
Standing Back and Talent Africa present the Legends of Sound, Afrigo at 50 concert on August 16th. History will be made at the Millennium Grounds, Lugogo, as the iconic Afrigo band celebrates 50 legendary years of music, culture, and unforgettable memories. They have shaped Uganda's sound, and now they return with a golden jubilee performance like no other. And joining them on stage, the one and only Kofi Olomide. Grab your early bird tickets now on Stanbic FlexiPay. Bronze 50K, silver 100K, gold tables 3 million, diamond tables 5 million, platinum tables 10 million for the ultimate VIP experience. The Legends of Sound, Afrigo at 50 concert. Presented by Standing Bank and Talent Africa Group. Powered by Tusker Mount Lager, Sheraton Hotel, NBS TV, Capsifao, Surfboarder, and Pepsi. Be part of history. Celebrate greatness.
NBS Frontline.
Welcome back as we continue examining the undertones in the NRM party primaries and, of course, the president's missives asking whether they really carry any weight that will see a turnaround in the internal democracy of the NRM. Honorable Dombo, isn't it quite odd that despite all the noise and all the outcry about a messy party primary, the Secretariat hasn't sat internally to audit and perhaps issue a statement?
The Secretariat has sat, and we have looked at a number of issues, and I'm not at liberty to come here and begin diverging what we have so far come up with. But because these matters are being considered by the tribunal, there are matters on which we cannot make a statement about. Secondly, the Secretariat, through the advice given by the Central Executive Committee, has set up proposed names for the national chairman to name a committee of eminent personalities. Because when you are talking about the initial challenges which Honorable 𝐃𝐿 had in the past, you talked of the president inviting all the members. It was actually Honorable 𝐉𝐄𝐿 who was saying that the president at a rally, instead of announcing one of the winners, he actually had to galvanize the party support by recognizing that all are members of the party. We must deal with the law and the matters as provided for at the law. But this is politics. This is a political party going into a political contestation. So the way we deal with this matter, we must ensure that the party remains united so that we can encounter the challenges that are ahead.
Did you ever see yourselves in this awkward position where you have to balance, where politics has to now go above the law?
Politics, this is a political party. And the political party deals with the politics of the nation.
You can rest the law and deal with the politics.
law cannot be rested. But where you find it expedient that you must unite the population, you can ask people to agree through consensus. Because the way we determine leadership under NRM, the first method is by consensus. Where people can agree that let Dombo be our flag bearer and you don't need an election, that will be the best. Secondly, where they disagree and you must go through an election, you will do that. So for us as a party and the party secretariat, we must ensure that the law is protected, but the politics is galvanized so that we can win the elections that are coming in. Because everybody matters. Every individual in the party matters, irrespective of the challenges. When we lost elections, what Honorable 𝐉𝐄𝐓𝐔𝐆𝐄𝐀 has been referring to, although he has been exaggerating some of the statements, one time we met after I had lost my elections in the Butaleja, and the president says, but it's only 5 years, and Uganda is not ending today. Since that time, there are about 2 members of parliament who have been elected in my place. The one who defeated me was also defeated subsequently. If I'd wanted to go back, I would still contest. So Uganda is not about to end. And once people can discover this, then it becomes a basis for them to concede and say, fine, let Honorable 𝐉𝐄𝐓𝐔𝐆𝐄𝐍𝐃𝐀 continue today. If you look at 𝐉𝐄𝐓𝐔𝐆𝐄𝐍𝐃𝐀, he's a very young man. If he chose to give in, he can say, after all, Bwana Rwashande is also a member of NRM. Honorable 𝐉𝐄𝐓𝐔𝐆𝐄𝐍𝐃𝐀 has said that General Rwashande was arguing to the contrary, that 𝐉𝐄𝐓 isn't, I mean, Honorable 𝐉𝐄𝐓𝐶𝐄 is not a member of NRM. I haven't heard him say that. We shall need to wait and see. But all of them are members of NRM, and for us, when we go to the general elections, we shall need the votes of General Rwashande, we shall need the votes of the supporters of Honorable 𝐉𝐄𝐓𝐶𝐄. And how we deal with that, some of the issues may not be for the public and for us to come here on the media and discuss, but we need to consolidate NRM, and the consolidation of NRM, we go through a number of processes. Some of them legal, others political, others through consensus building, through negotiations.
Honorable 𝐉𝐄𝐓𝐶𝐄, with your victory snatched, as you claim, would you go in for a consensus? And do we envisage a moment where you and Rwashande will one day hug and move on?
Yeah, ordinarily, it depends on the circumstances.
Absolutely.
The circumstances are very critical. The honesty. But from my side, you see, contesting for a constituency, you don't go in to say that this constituency is mine, I must win. But when you participate and they choose to declare someone else, let them show how they declare that person.
No, but to resolve tensions, the crisis
yes,
in Rwemiyaga.
I'm coming to that.
Would you give
now,
in to talks?
It is more painful to be cheated. How I wish one day you can join politics.
I was there.
To be cheated. To be cheated.
I burnt my fingers.
To be cheated. And to know that it's not the people who have rejected you, but someone has just snatched that mandate using illegitimate methods, using the army, because the army should be for all of us. But someone has now used the army for their own personal ambitions. And that's where it is painful, because we all pay allegiance to this enterprise called Uganda.
Yeah, but there should come a moment where you give up on the pain. You heal and reconcile.
If it's not this, because you see, it's not personal. There are people behind us. It's not personal, it's not him in Kira municipality. But there are people behind him. And whatever decision you must take, whatever decision you ought to take, you must put into account the people. We are in leadership today. Tomorrow, I may not be. But I want my name to go down well with the people. That the time when Sechku was here as our leader, we were able to do this. And certainly, Mr. Kagwa, I have no illusions. I'm not the first member of parliament for Emiyaga, and neither will I be the last member of parliament. But whilst I'm still there, can we play by the rules of the game? Why should someone use other methods to get power?
Can you talk to the impasse?
Yes, but to me, I'm hurt and let down by even my party. Why should the party have double checks, double standards? You say come to the polls, convince the people, and indeed we'll go by that. But others now use the instruments of coercion to get their way. And that's where it is hurting, unless that question is answered. But you don't cheat me, you don't kick me around, and then you say, I should joyfully come to the table and say, yes, I'm here to reconcile. Because the differences did not start at the declaration, it went back to where we came from.
What is glaring, just a second, what is glaring is that you both have interests that you're representing. On one part, you accuse Rashande of having the army on his side.
Yes.
How about you?
No. That's why you could see Rwashande's soldiers were beating up people in lanes and beating me up, and I was helpless. I was defenseless. Yet the entry of the army was welcomed in as far as it was under the police. Let me tell you something that you've omitted. 1 week to the elections, the president sent the Inspector General of Police to meet the leaders of Sembabule, and indeed he met us. But the message from the president was, after the killing of Sembo Sifred, that henceforth it will be the police to lead in the election process. The army can be called in to buttress or to beef up the police, but it will this election, the politics, and all that will be led by the police. So I want to ask the IGP, Mr. Byakagaba, once again, whether what he came to deliver the president's message was for window dressing, was meant to calm us down, whereas actually, because what we are all surprised about is how the president's position, the president's pronouncement can be taken for granted.
Thank you. Honorable Semuju, do we look at the NRM primaries as a foretaste of what is yet to come, where violence, money, the army, and other factors are going to play out, unlike in the past? Or it's the past replaying?
I was with Honorable Salam Musumba at the PFF headquarters, and she told me this is what these fellows have served themselves. Do you think they are going to serve us something different? I said, we need to prepare. This is what they are able to serve, and this is what they have served themselves. It could even be worse. Because I don't think Sechku's situation is worse than Kawempe. I don't think so. In Kawempe, I saw for the first time Mamba armored vehicles being driven into a polling station, If you have, because the electoral law is very clear that you can't even carry a gun, just an AK-47, not even a pistol. The law says Electoral Commission can deploy constables, and the constables are not even police.
So this was another version of Kawempe?
No. Kawempe was worse. So if you ask me that if what has happened in Zimbabwe is going to be repeated, it has already been served. Where you had the JAT, SFC, everybody, these goons that Museveni has had that are robbing people on the streets of Kampala, they were all there kicking ballot boxes, and these letters of Museveni, you need to go back. After doing everything they did in Kawempe, Museveni said NRM had been cheated. They even went to court. So I don't know, maybe we are too forgetful. The same Museveni who said that in Kawempe they have cheated NRM and encouraged the Nabi to go to court. And he doesn't know how the military went there. Now he says they are going to resolve the NRM issues. So that's how Museveni acts. So what was in Kawempe? Because I was in Soroti when they were cheating the FDC candidate. I was not in Kayunga, where they cheated the NOPU candidate. At least there the violence was not as much as it was, because Kawempe is in the center, where you have the cameras. Someone will be restrained to do the things that they did in Kawempe. And they were celebrated by Muhoozi Kainerugaba. So I am not a fool that I think in the next election they are going to allow campaigns to take place, they are going to allow free and fair. They are going to repeat the same thing. You will see Museveni on TV saying the military. Didn't you see him on TV saying, military, you're not even allowed to bark at people. The law says you must come and introduce yourself, inform the next of kin. That is in the Constitution. Has that ever happened in Jara?
Honorable Mbide, how much do Ugandans have to contend with when you look at the NRM template?
Now, what Ugandans need to do, you see, a snake that you can see cannot bite you. For me, this is a very good lesson. And this lesson goes now to all Ugandans who are heading for elections, all of us. Like Honorable Samju has said, that is the menu. This has been done in such a way that there is no outright state protection of the protagonists of crime, because clearly they have been dealing with each other. So they have been aligning the tools of coercion for the next election. Now, whoever will succeed, and I am saying this, of course, bearing in mind that obviously also petitions will be dealt with successfully. Whoever now will succeed as an NRM flag bearer is going to be a tool of operation against the rest. And what the rest now need to do is to organize for that operation.
We'll cross straight to AfroMobile, and many thanks to our fans who have already downloaded the app. Well, please continue.
NBS Frontline.
The state is behaving in such a way that it wants and would like to appoint members of parliament. Indirectly, but actively. To the extent that now the choice of the people and what we ultimately look at the Constitution as power belonging to the people. The word people now is going to be redefined in the next election. It is going to be true, all power belongs to the people, but the term people is going to be selectively described, and the list is going to be out. of what they call people that will bear the power to determine who must lead us.
Honorable Dombo, internally, quite a number of NRM supporters and members have been bruised by this election. Is there any process in place to heal, to help these people? Because the contemplation now is moving on to independent.
Becoming independent is a right under the national constitution. NRM cannot forcefully prevent people, but we have our own constitution which says anybody who contests against an NRM candidate or supports a candidate other than the flag bearer shall be expelled. That's a reason for expulsion from the...
Was Alupo expelled?
From the NRM. Alupo wasn't expelled.
In 2021, yes.
Because the internal systems then, we didn't have a register. That's why she went back and won. Because if she had been legitimately, there is no way how she would have won the subsequent election, general election which followed. So that justifies...
So there was an exception in the past?
There was an exception because the internal systems weren't fair. And the national chairman has guided us on what to do. That's why he enabled us to get the resources to deal with the register. The few shortcomings notwithstanding. So, for the members of NRM who may wish to become independent, I strongly urge them, first of all, to seek adjudication through the committee which has been set up. Let them bring their evidence.
When does this committee sit and when does it start?
It has started work already. They are receiving the petitions. Right now they have received over 100 petitions and they are going to come up with a schedule. It is a team. It is a tribunal of about 28 lawyers which have been selectively considered because of their previous experience. And we believe they are going to use the evidence that will be available and submitted and look at the challenges and the rules that had been used to organize the elections. And once they make...
Do you have election petition rules as a party?
Election petition, no. I think the tribunal will develop some of the rules, but also we have the rules that we have used in the past.
The tribunal will develop the rules.
We have the rules that we have used in the past. Because we have the constitution.
So was it arbitrarily created?
The setting up of the tribunal is provided for in the NRM constitution.
Yes.
Secondly, the tribunal will consider using evidence that is available. Two, we have had a tribunal before. So there is a precedent that the tribunal will be following. It is not just an arbitrary setup of a tribunal.
Do you have an idea of how long this tribunal is going to run?
No, I don't want to... I haven't looked at the terms of reference and the time frame. Hopefully, the official spokesperson of the tribunal is the lawyer Barata, Counsel Barata, who is the director for legal, because these are technical matters, and two, because he sits inside there, he's privy to the dealings and what is happening in the tribunal. That's why, even when I speak for the NRM, on the issues of the tribunal, I cannot with the authority come here and deliberate on them because I may not be privy to what exactly is transpiring there. But we believe that once the tribunal has sat and has exhausted what is supposed to do, then we shall be able to go to the next phase of action, either reconciliation or to implement what the tribunal have decided. Because it may decide that let the elections be cancelled and we do a repeat. It may decide that the second person or nullify the person who had been declared and declare somebody subsequent to us. Or
is time on your side? Because you imagine the people who were declared winners are meant to be in Kololo for the delegates conference, right?
Does the committee have authority to declare somebody?
Now I don't speak for the committee. somebody who speaks for the committee should be able to answer that question. That's what I've just said here.
You don't for the committee, so you don't even know your own internal matters.
No, it is the communication which you have decided, because they have rules on which they will be running. We don't want to preempt the decisions that they'll be making, but the outcome of the decision, given to what happened in the previous decisions, they cancelled elections previously.
And they declared that
they cancelled the elections, and previously
they recommended cancellation. They can't cancel.
No, once
do they have powers?
Their decision is final. The decision of the committee is final, and what they will decide will be final. And for us, we shall implement the decisions of the committee.
Do you know what you're subjecting yourself to in this tribunal, whose system of work remains kind of obscure?
Yes, indeed, and
you're worried.
It is a bit worrisome, only that maybe to add to the director's submission, is that it will come up with a recommendation to the commission, the electoral commission, to be the one to formalize whether nullification, whether upholding, or any of the decisions they will have made. But what is distinctly clear is that we have degenerated from being competitors. We are opponents, we are competitors. But we are not belligerents. Belligerents are what is now happening. Now you're asking me whether people who have been opposed to one another can have a reconciliation. Reconciliation can come out of a competition. And once we are out there to compete for one to represent the people of 𝐉𝐄𝐄𝐄, but the response from the other side is as if we are at war. Kagwa, how do you tell me to reconcile when I know that when I was shot and injured on the finger, I would not be here by now. I would be long gone, and probably would have done the rest of it, to a send of etc. So where it is a question of life and death, it can't be taken easily like that. Look, I lost someone who died on my chest. Blood splintered on my shirt, and that young man died. Now you can't put it in simple terms that, you know what, you are being called for reconciliation.
And you're belligerent.
And now it took the posture of belligerency from competition. We started as competitors, which is very legitimate. But we are not fighting. We are not killing each other. And once a life is lost, as it is in 𝐉𝐄𝐄𝐄, that's why I wanted to ask the director. A person is shot dead, and you say, carry on, continue, carry on with your campaigns. And this is not a thug, but a member of the party.
Yeah, but such 𝐉𝐄𝐄𝐄 has historically been a chaotic scene.
No, you can have fallouts, but where it reaches the point of using a government gun to shoot and kill a person, that can't be massaged in Jara. That takes on a different proportion. We waited. We thought the NRM Secretariat, we thought the NRM Electoral Commission. After a week, then the commission invited us to the party headquarters, to the commission headquarters. And to me, we have devalued human life. For whatever reasons, how did we get there? How did we lose our direction? Do we still have a message to give to the people?
Well, I'm afraid there are quite a number of unanswered questions, and well, The discussion continues online. We ask, do the president's missives in any way help in resolving the apparent stalemate in the NRM in the wake of the party primaries? From me and the entire team, good night.
Being taken to Nasser Hospital in Khan Yunis. It's the last major functioning hospital in southern Gaza that's still able to offer any sort of treatment for young patients. The little food that is available in Gaza has become almost impossible to obtain. Thousands of people are queuing up at community kitchens for hours, often leaving empty-handed. Gaza's health ministry says at least 115 people have starved to death since Israel started its war on Gaza. Most have died since March, when Israel reimposed its total blockade. Many of the dead are children. Israel is blocking